Okay, to finish up with the text overlays section of the slideshow inside Lightroom 4, what we want to do is take a look at how this whole layout is going to work through here. So you have to ask your students what's important. Well, they've got the name of the image up here with the word Kelsey, that young lady's name Kelsey, and that came from adding title, and this came from adding caption. So what they'd need to do to make sure that they all had a title and a caption is, unfortunately, they'd have to go back to the library and do a little bit of legwork here, and then click on each image and say, go back to the metadata on the right-hand side and give it a title and give it a caption. So we might give this one Kelsey, and we're going to say in the caption, this is with the t-shirt. All right. And so maybe we've got the Kelsey with t-shirt, and now if we go back, I'm going to say OK to that by hitting the return key or the enter key there. If I go back to the slideshow, notice now it says Kelsey and it says with t-shirt. So if I went back on the bottom here to click on this other slide just to show you what it would look like, there it is, Kelsey Studio Lighting, and here it is, Kelsey with t-shirt. So anytime that you put a caption, the caption would show up here, and anytime that you put a title, the title would show up here. Now this one, this Amanda Cody, look when I clicked on it, look what showed up down the bottom in the ABC section here. It says custom text and Amanda Cody. So in other words, Amanda's name showed up on every single slide because it is custom text. But the other pieces, the caption and the other individual pieces here, the title, all these other ones, those are dependent upon the actual image itself and what you've applied to the metadata back in the library. So only custom text will show up on every slide. Now you could give yourselves, click off and give yourself more custom text. If I click on custom text and give myself something else, anything else, just the word art in all caps and click on it, that art would show up in every single slide. So if you really wanted that to be there, if I clicked on any slide, art and Amanda's name are going to be there. Notice when I move to the other slides that these other images have empty there and empty here. Those won't show up on the final slide. If you see these little brackets on the left and right, it means that that's not going to show up. It'll be a totally empty space when it gets to the slideshow. But everything else that shows up will be on every single slide, unless, of course, you click on it to highlight it and hit delete, and then it won't show up. Now, to add some extra stuff to this, you just click on a particular bit of text, like this little caption space down the bottom, and then you could go and click the shadow on. And when you click the shadow on, as long as that little bit of stuff was highlighted here, when you click on the shadow, you can give that bit of text a little bit of shadow. So I can change the opacity up a little bit, and notice how the drop shadow is getting pretty pronounced there because I've got the opacity at 100%. And the offset is how far you want it to offset. You maybe don't want it too much. You maybe don't want to overdo it with these little drop shadows and stuff, but you could do it. And as opposed to Photoshop, where this point means that's where the light is coming from, in Lightroom, this point means that's where the shadow is. So you can actually click and hold that down and drag that around and have the angle of the light come from a different perspective. So it could come from the top, the shadow could be on the top right, or the shadow could be on the bottom left, whatever you want to do with that particular bit. So you've got your text overlays and your shadow, and you could do it to each one. You just have to click on each piece and then turn that back on, and then you can add a shadow to it. And do that before you make the final decision about is it going to work or not going to work. And if you don't like the shadows, you can just shut them off. But it'll only shut off to the ones that you have selected. So if I click that on, notice that does not have shadow on. If I click this one on, notice that it does have shadow on there. And it'll only work if you highlight it and then shut it off. All right, in the next movie, we'll take a look at the backdrop and the titles, and then we'll see if we can't get this to play.